How would you like to play your best tennis in the biggest moments instead of crumbling under pressure? That's exactly what you're about to learn how to do as I deconstruct the recent upload by Karue Sell from My Tennis HQ. He had an incredible result in a set against Taylor Fritz, the current world number 12, and his reaction to that result speaks volumes about the difference between the mental toughness of world-class players and regular, everyday ones like you and me. Let's dive right into it. First, we need to make some important context connections here between ourselves and somebody like Karo. And so here's something that I put together really quick called the mental toughness spectrum. Mental toughness isn't an on-off switch. We might have low mental toughness, medium, or high. Let's define those really quick. If currently you have low mental toughness, then it means that you completely fold under any pressure on the courts. You basically become a totally different player during competition. You slow down to be careful, you use worse technique. You basically don't have any ability to kind of be yourself during competition. Medium toughness, let's say, is somebody that has some ability to stay confident in the face of anxiety and pressure, but you can't quite reach your full potential when it really matters the most. And then we've got high mental toughness. This is somebody who might actually perform better in the face of anxiety and pressure. And this is a tennis player that is able to use their best skills under pressure. And all of them are available. And you can swing with total freedom and confidence no matter what is on the line. Now, an important thing to point out here is there's not a direct connection between mental toughness and level of play as a player. There's definitely some connection, but it's not one-to-one. So going back to the chart here, I made another one, tennis talent spectrum. And so if you're not familiar, 2.5 is basically a beginner player here in the United States. 4.5 is an advanced player. It's only about the top 10% or so of tennis players are at 4.5 or above. And then we've got 6.0, which basically means professional tennis player. Between 6 and 7 means that you make your living playing tennis. So what's important to keep in mind is there are, let's say, 3-5 tennis players that have very high mental toughness. And you probably know some 4.5 level players, some like pretty strong advanced players who have terrible mental toughness, and they're all the way down at the bottom of the spectrum. It's important to remember that while mental toughness is definitely important, it's just one of the big key pillars of being a good, well-rounded tennis player. There's technical skills, there's fitness and conditioning, there's tactics and strategy, and then there's the mental game. So the mental game certainly is critically important, but you can be an advanced player without having a good mental game, and you can have a great mental game and not necessarily be a super high-level player yet. And so I just wanted to lay the groundwork here just to make sure we're kind of all on the same page and talking about the same thing. Okay, so back to Karue's set. He obviously played lights out in terms of his tennis, but what really jumped out at me was his own personal reaction to the outcome. He kept downplaying the importance of the result because he kept saying it was just a practice set. And I find this rather profound because the environment that Karue and Taylor were playing in would have absolutely terrified 99% of tennis players out there. They both knew that there was a camera on the court and it was being recorded. Number one. That's probably already making some of you sweat out there. Number two, they both knew that potentially this could be seen by tens of thousands or maybe even hundreds of thousands of people if it got published to Karue's channel. Number three, Karue personally has been working super hard to level up his game, keep playing higher levels of competition. Of course, the whole goal for him is to make it as a professional tennis player. And what better way to find out kind of where he stands than by playing this set? So the implications for him emotionally, like psychologically, could really be huge. And over on Taylor's side of the court, we don't want to lose to somebody who we know is lower ranked, or they're on the lower team, or their rating is lower. Like, we've got something to prove when we go out there and practice. The last thing we want to do is lose to somebody who we feel like we shouldn't lose to, right? You can relate to that. So be honest, put yourself in their shoes, put yourself in that situation with all of those same factors, all layered at the same time. How would it make you feel on the court if you were in that situation? Well, I actually happen to know something about this because for over a decade, I've been recording myself coaching and I've been recording myself playing and publishing it to the internet in front of hundreds of thousands of people. And over that time, I've personally grown in my own mental toughness a ton because I've had to face the pressure and anxiety of cameras and viewers over and over and over again. And if you don't believe that it makes a big difference, by the way, listen to all of these other players talk about it, most of whom are actually a higher level than me and have more high-level experience than I do on the court.
The cameras and microphones definitely add a different aspect to it.
I feel like I was thinking about it a little bit in the back of my head.
Yeah, I was going through my head a good amount, but I tried to block it out.
It's easier to be comfortable and relaxed when you're in your own environment and things like that. So I think that probably played a major role.
I mean, it's very different being on camera, being recorded, and just kind of having that in the back of my mind, knowing everyone's watching and commentating.
What's fascinating about this is that the same environment can affect different people in completely different ways. Somebody who didn't play competitive junior tennis, didn't play high school tennis, and didn't play college tennis, has maybe just kind of played in some USTA leagues here and there, is going to be hugely affected by playing on camera where tens of thousands of people are going to see the outcome. Somebody like me or most of the other players that have played on my Essential Tennis channel or my Real Tennis channel with the matches, with the commentary and stuff like that, most of us have played junior tennis, played high school tennis, played college tennis, but we're still affected by it. Now, to somebody like Karue, on the other hand, who has played for way, way higher stakes than 99.99% of us ever will, with more pressure than any of us can ever imagine who are just kind of normal, everyday tennis players, an environment with the camera and the YouTube audience and even a top-level pro across the net from him isn't enough to knock him even slightly off his game. In fact, I'd say, just from where I'm sitting, that there's probably a really high chance that he played better than average in this set against Taylor Fritz because the dynamics of the camera and his opponent pumped him up to play his best. While for Taylor, on the other side of the net, it was really just kind of another day at the office. And Karue, whenever you see this, let me know in the comments down below if I'm on the right track with those comments or if you feel like I'm off base. I'll be sure to pin your comment to the top. So if you're not Karue and you haven't played college tennis or high school tennis and you don't have a YouTube channel, how can we build up our mental toughness? If you feel like currently you're hanging out towards the bottom of the mental toughness spectrum, how can we move ourselves up more towards the top? Well, I think the solution lies in a diagram that I refer back to a lot in my personal coaching that I call the concentric circles of learning. And basically, what this illustrates here is a relationship between how we spend our time and how well we're able to grow in any phase of the game of tennis. In the middle is our comfort zone. That's what we just feel comfortable doing. It's our skills that are most familiar. Whatever we're used to is here in our comfort zone. Then just outside of our comfort zone is the learning zone. And so this is where we're not comfortable, but we're not so uncomfortable that we lose control of what we're doing and just kind of freak out. And that's the panic zone. The panic zone is so far outside of our comfort zone that we basically go into fight or flight, and we just kind of go into our base instincts and just want to get the heck out of there. And we lose control of what we're doing, and we don't really grow or improve because we're just constantly in a state of panic. This works for technical skills, and this works for mental toughness skills as well. You want to hang out as much as possible in the learning zone so that you can continue to improve and upgrade your skills. So on average, if you just push yourself 10%, 20% outside of your comfort zone consistently, I promise you that over time you will build and develop mental tools and skills. You build familiarity, just like Karue was talking about. Guys, this is no big deal. I've trained, with these top guys all the time. It's no big deal. There's familiarity there. He's left his comfort zone enough times with these top players that it actually starts to become his comfort zone. And then when there's the extra pressure of the cameras and the YouTube channel, and I'm trying to level up my game and be a full-time pro, then that actually just makes him play better. So I challenge you wherever you are right now, leave your comfort zone by 10%, 20%. Do it consistently, and you'll keep leveling up your mental game and the rest of your game too. Thanks for watching. Talk to you again soon.